with a level 1 yoga class today, and the idea here is we're just going to put kind of all the elements in our yoga class today. Elements meaning standing poses, some arm balances, we're going to do some stretchy poses, of course, but it'll feel like a full, well-rounded yoga practice. And as always, the invitation is to kind of listen to what your body's offering for you today, and let's just kind of step up to your comfortable edge, and let's just enjoy ourselves as we connect body, mind, and spirit. I've got a block that I like to just carry around with me. If you've got some, great. If you don't worry about it. It'll work out fine. But start in a comfortable seated position or a kneeling position, and just start with your hands on your knees. Close your eyes for a second as we gather ourselves to the moment. Take a deep breath in. Lean forward with the sigh out your mouth. Deep breath in. And as you come upright, set your thumb and first finger together. Turn your palms open, and let's begin Ujjayi breath. Slow whisper breath in and out through the nostrils. Feel yourself here in this moment. If you have a particular intention for practicing today, if there's something that's going on for you, set that on the altar of your heart. And as we connect body, mind, and spirit through our postures, through movement, through our mindfulness, through our breath, you'll create the fertile ground for whatever seed that you've planted by way of your intention to flourish, to grow, and to bloom. Open your arms wide, lift your hands toward the ceiling, touch your palms together, and as you exhale, drop your hands to your heart. And if you want to join me, we'll chant Om one time. You're welcome to listen if you prefer. Inhale. With your hands on your knees, just kind of roll your shoulders back. Give yourself a big inhale. Arch your chest, lift your chin to receive a breath. And as you exhale, roll your shoulders forward and around your back. Draw your tailbone under, drop your chin to help push that breath back out. Inhale, open up your heart. Beautiful, everyone. Exhale, round your shoulders, roll forward a little bit. And move back and forth, kind of like a seated version of cat-cow position. You know, as we're starting our practice this evening, maybe improvise a little bit. Kind of lean forward and around, move back and around, and just kind of find some side-to-side motion. Or, you know, if this back and forth cat-cow business really has your number, just keep with that thing. You know, as much as a therapeutic benefit that some of this beginning motion in particular may have, really this is the discovery part of our practice. This is the part where we get a chance to, through movement, kind of feel into exactly where our situation is, what our situation is this evening. This will kind of help us illuminate where our comfortable boundaries are so that we can move appropriately forward in the kind of practice that body, mind, spirit are willing to give us today. So when you're ready, let's translate this forward to a hands and knees pose and start to move into a cat-cow position. So in a cat-cow position, lean your chest forward as you inhale, open up your heart, pull your shoulder blades together. As you exhale, push your hands to the floor and round your back, kind of pull your belly in a little bit. And just kind of move back and forth. Again, coming to this relatively frequent inquiry, what am I most aware of in this moment? What's going on? So the next time you exhale, round your spine, lower all the way into a child's pose. But don't stay there. We're going to inhale, come right back to hands and knees position. And exhale back into child's pose. And back into hands and knees. And as you're moving back and forth again, how is it through the movement of the posture, how do you find yourself kind of illuminating more and more of what's available for you today? The next time you exhale, curl your toes under, lift your hips in the air for a downward facing dog pose, perhaps very bent in the knees to start. And then begin to pedal your knees. Right knee bends, left knee bends. Let your head shake no, let your head shake yes. I celebrate improvisation, so if there's any way that you can make this pose more suitable to your needs, do whatever you need to do. Let this be equal parts, exploration as well as instruction. Okay, so when you're ready, look forward to your hands, bend your knees, do a hop, a step, or walk, feet to hands. And with fingertips to the mat, inhale, do a deep bend in your knees, keep your heels on the floor as you draw your shoulder blades together and look forward. And then when you exhale, straighten up your legs, fold forward and round your spine, chin to collarbones. Inhale again, bend your knees into a deep squat. Straighten up your legs and fold forward. And as you're doing this back and forth, we're just warming up some of these major muscle groups, quads and hamstrings, shins and calves. Not to mention what's happening in the trunk. As your hips drop, draw your shoulder blades together. Activate your upper back muscles. Yeah. As you exhale, engage your abdominals. Help that to make you round forward. Beautiful. Now the next time you're in a forward fold pose, pause there and walk both of your hands to the left. Reach with your right arm and pull your right hip back. Find a stretch through your right side body. So there's these muscles, the lats, that connect your armpit essentially all the way down to your sacrum. Yeah, really let your head relax here. And as you pull your hip back and reach your armpit forward, you get that nice stretch, not to mention what's happening in between the ribs. So now switch sides as your hands walk over to the other side. Feels like your armpit that's doing the reaching, your hip is pulling back, kind of resisting that in some way. Your arm itself is just sort of along for the ride. Deep breaths, everybody. Good. Now walk your hands back to middle. Step your right leg behind you into a kneeling lunge position. Fingertips to the floor. Just enjoy an easy groin stretch. The connective muscles that connect your legs through the pelvis to your back, the hip flexor, the groin. Then after a couple of breaths, plant your palms and slide your feet together in a downward facing dog pose. So we're kind of slow jamming our way through a classical sun salutation. And in this sequence, the inside edge of your feet touch. So give that a shot. Try that out. Bring the inside edge of your feet together. Then lift your heels high up off the ground. Begin to tuck your tailbone and roll slowly forward into a plank position. Yeah. You go from butt to lower back to middle back to upper back. Perfect. Then from here, drop your knees to the mat. Keep your butt in the air, drop chin and chest to the floor. That's what I'm talking about. Now drop your hips as you roll your shoulders back into cobra pose. Open up your heart. Let your pelvis come all the way down the ground. Keep your toes curled under. It's a little weird. As if doing yoga in an abandoned warehouse isn't weird enough. Lift back into downward facing dog as you exhale. Nice. Looking forward, inhale as you step your left foot between the hands and drop your right knee back to the mat into a kneeling lunge. Perfect. Yeah. Now essentially we're just going to do a great big dramatic step forward. So kind of make this K in your legs and then bring your right foot forward to meet your left. Yeah. That's it. Perfect. Now swing your arms forward and up to the sky. Do a little arch in your back. And as you exhale, bring your arms parallel to the floor as you bring your hands back to your heart. So here goes the left side. We're going to bring forward and up to the sky on the inhale. When you exhale, fold forward into Uttanasana, forward fold position. Then step your left leg back into a kneeling lunge position. Good. A couple of breaths here. Now eventually we're going to speed this sequence up, but we're just kind of getting our bodies into the feeling of this thing. Plant your palms, slide your feet back into downward facing dog, inside edge of big toes touching. Then lift your heels up off the floor, tuck your tailbone. You got it, Lindsay. Roll all the way forward into plank position. That's what I'm talking about. Knees, chest, chin to the mat. Beautiful. Then drop your hips as you roll your shoulders back, cobra pose. Nice, beautiful, beautiful work. Down dog, exhale, lift your hips back in the air. So bringing it home, step your right foot forward between your hands, touch your left knee down to the mat. Come back into the kneeling lunge. The next time you exhale, step your left foot in a slow sort of K-step forward to meet your right foot into Uttanasana, forward fold. Yeah, that's it. And with your feet together on the floor, reach your arms forward and up to the sky as you stand all the way up with a little arch in your back. And then as you exhale, bring your arms parallel to the floor before you bring your hands back to heart. And every time we come back to this pose, this is Anjali Mudra. This is the chance to connect back in with whatever is going on in your heart today, whatever you set. Now we're going to start to build a pace, breathe some life into this practice. I'm going to go with you the first couple of times through this. We're going to go through it several times. Lose yourself in the rhythm. It's going to be the same sequence several times. And just enjoy, okay? Here we go. Forward and up on the inhale. Dive forward on your exhale. Step your right leg back into a kneeling lunge. Inhale. Plant your palms, slide your feet together into down dog. Exhale. Lift up and roll to plank. Inhale. And then touch knees, chest, and chin. Exhale. Cobra pose. Inhale. And downward facing dog. Exhale. Step your left foot forward between hands. Inhale. Right knee touches. Give yourself that big step forward, right foot to meet the left. From here, reach your arms forward as you stand all the way up with a little arch in your back. And exhale, hands back to heart and your purpose for practice. Here goes left side, forward and up. Inhale. Dive forward, exhale. Left leg steps back to a kneeling lunge. Inhale. As you plant your palms, slide your right foot back, down dog. Exhale. Then roll to a plank pose. Inhale. And knees, chest, chin. Exhale. Cobra. Inhale. And down dog. Exhale. Right foot goes forward. Inhale. Left knee touches. Left foot follows on the exhale. Stand up. Inhale. Reach toward the ceiling with a little arch. And as you exhale, bring your arms parallel and back to the floor. Here we go again. Forward and up. Inhale. Dive forward on your exhale. Lead with the right as you step back to kneeling lunge. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Left comes back to meet the right. Roll into plank pose, kind of like worm your way to plank. And then exhale, knees, chest, chin to the floor. Inhale, roll your shoulders back, cobra pose. And exhale, lift your hips back up to downward facing dog. Left foot goes forward on the inhale between your hands, right knee to the mat. Follow with the right exhale. Good, good. With both feet on the floor, reach your arms forward and up. Inhale, reach toward the sky. And exhale, hands back to heart. Here goes the other side. Forward and up. Inhale. Dive forward, exhale. Beautiful work. Left foot goes back. Inhale. Right foot follows, exhale. You're doing it. Roll into plank. Inhale. And knees, chest, chin, exhale. Very good. Cobra, inhale, open up your chest. Down dog, exhale. Right foot steps forward, breathe in. That's what I'm talking about. Lefty follows on the exhale. Stand all the way up with power, reach to the sky, little arch in your back. And exhale, hands back to heart. Let's do this one more time. Just a little bit quicker. Inhale up. Exhale forward. Inhale, right leg back. Exhale, lefty comes back to down dog. Roll to plank, inhale, and then knees, chest, chin, exhale. Cobra pose, open up your chest. Exhale, lift to downward facing dog pose. Lefty steps forward on the inhale. Beautiful. Followed by righty, exhale. All the way up, breathe in. And hands to heart, exhale. Last time, last side, here we go. Up, inhale, and take it forward, exhale. Like what I'm seeing, lefty goes back, inhale. Followed by righty to down dog, exhale. Roll to plank, inhale. Deep breath, exhale, knees, chest, chin to the mat. Yes. Cobra, inhale. And down dog, exhale. Right foot steps forward, breathe in. Followed by lefty on the exhale. Yeah, all the way up, breathe in. Reach to the sky, little arch in your back. Connect with your heart, exhale. Love it. Inhale, bend your knees, reach your arms to the sky. Exhale. Do this. Now keep going. And we're just getting rid of all the sludge in our nervous system, getting rid of all of that mental whatever. If you've been watching the news all day, right? This is like the dump the news out of your brain pose, right? It just gets the prana to move in a really powerful way. If you get a little lightheaded, do it like 3 more times and then come into a forward fold pose. If you get really lightheaded, we'll meet you in forward fold. Otherwise, let's go like 5 more of these. Last time. End up in a forward fold. Take deep ujjayi breaths into the nostrils, out through the nostrils. Notice in the first few moments of our yoga practice what has happened about clearing your mind, opening up your space, that intrinsic, deep, expansive space for you to practice being your best self, your most whole self. And from this, take it into a downward facing dog. Plant your palms to the mat. Sit back into downward facing dog pose. Good. Spread your fingers wide, and you may even try kind of rotating your fingers slightly out at an angle. So instead of your middle finger pointing forward, your middle fingers may point out a couple of degrees in either direction. Depending on the chemistry of your wrist, this may or may not be helpful. Others of us like to have our middle finger pointing straight forward. So kind of feel into whatever feels right for you. Now raise your right leg up in the air as you inhale. Hold this pose and keep your shoulders squared with one another. Pick up the heel of your left hand. So the palm of your left hand comes off the mat and you're up onto your fingertips of the left hand. And you can stay there, keep your deep ujjayi breath going. If you want to go a little bit deeper, slide your left hand toward your left toes. Perhaps even grab your left hand around your left calf. Right? If that's going to put you on your face, right? Skillfully don't do that version of the pose, but nonetheless, we're messing with our balance. We're doing some asymmetrical balancing. Beautiful. Plant your left hand back to the floor. Step your right foot forward between hands, closer toward your right thumb. Beautiful. And send both arms in the air for crescent lunge position. Imagine that there were a hook on your pubic bone and your sternum and your collarbones and your nose, kind of that all those points connected, and somebody were lifting that upward toward the sky. And then the back side of your body were weighted toward the floor. So from the back of your head, between your shoulder blades and your sacrum, pushing down toward the floor at the same time your heart is lifting up. Now bring your hands to your heart and twist to your right. Bring your left elbow to the outside of your right thigh. Now my secret is I'm going to look down to my big toe as I make the twist, find myself balanced, and then once it is set, I'll look back up toward the ceiling. Now if it serves you to extend your arms, right arm toward the ceiling, left hand to the floor, go ahead. If it serves you to bind the pose, wrap your right hand behind you for the half bind. If your shoulders are open enough and or long enough to enjoy the full bind, left forearm underneath your thigh, be my guest. 2 more breaths. Both arms reach back up toward the ceiling on your inhale, back into crescent lunge position. Exhale, plant your hands back to the floor as you slide back into plank pose or go straight to downward facing dog. Okay, so plank pose or down dog. If you're not into chaturangas, go straight to down dog. Otherwise, from plank, slowly lower to chaturanga. Peel open to cobra or maybe this time upward facing dog. And exhale, lift back into downward facing dog pose. Lovely. Awesome. So we want a really solid base in down dog before we start to mess with down dog, okay? So feel your hands really grounded, maybe a little grip of the fingertips. As you inhale, raise, and here's what I see some of you doing, which is brilliant. Step your right foot slightly closer to your left foot, and then raise your left leg up in the air. Yeah, perfect. Now, work hard to keep your hips square. So your left hip's going to want to lift higher. Keep it square. Your right shoulder's going to want to drop. Don't do that. Now, lift your right heel of the hand, the right palm off the floor. That's all we need to do. And or maybe slide your right hand slightly back toward your right toes. Yeah, it can stay on the floor. That's perfect. Or reach back around and grab your right calf muscle. How is your core strength engaged to hold you in this pose? Yeah. Beautiful work. Now both palms back to the floor. Step your left foot forward toward your left thumb. And let's open up into crescent lunge pose. Reach back up to the sky. Yeah. Good. Airplane your way up into crescent. Whatever it takes. We're all learning on the job. You know, that's going to be what it says on my gravestone one day. Learning on the job. Take a big, deep breath in. Now, remember that feeling of lifting through the front plane and drawing down through the back plane. I feel a great stretch in the back leg groin muscle when I do this. I don't know about you. Hands to heart, and then we're going to twist to the other side. So twist right elbow to the other outside of the left thigh, whichever way other side is for you. Do your best to straighten your back leg as much as possible. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Palms push as the lever to turn your trunk toward the sky. Voila, if this feels amazing, you've arrived. If you want to go deeper, then open your arms like wings. Or mess around with the pose. Wrap your left hand behind you to leverage a deeper opening, or find the full bind with your right forearm underneath your thigh, clasping your hands underneath your thigh. Deeper postures aren't better postures, right? They're just deeper, right? More challenging yoga isn't better yoga. It's just harder to do. It just burns more calories. If that speaks to you, there's no reason not to, right? Okay. Back crescent lunge pose. Samadhi is not only achieved by those who can do full handstands in the middle of the room. You know what I mean? Okay. Give yourself one more deep inhale, and then as you exhale, plant your hands down to the floor. Slide either straight to downward facing dog pose or move through a vinyasa. Vinyasa is to say chaturanga, up dog and down dog. Now when you do come to down dog, try this version of down dog. Bring your feet wider than your yoga mat. Press your hands firmly to the floor and push your hips back with your head dropping right in between your arms. Feel how easy this is on your shoulders and wrists. In fact, you might even be able to bring your legs wide enough such that you could even lift your the palms of your hands off the mat. You're like doing down dog on your fingertips. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so just options. Plant your hands back to the mat, bring your feet back to normal, raise your right leg in the air again, inhale, three-legged dog. Bend your right knee and reach your right heel toward your right butt cheek. So your hips stay square. Think of your right toes pointing toward the ceiling, your right knee pointing straight back. Yeah. And either you're going to do the exact same pose we did last time with left hand lifted slightly up to fingertips, or left fingertips sliding toward left toes. Or, if you're feeling a little bit adventuresome today, left hand reaches back to grab right foot. What? Is that even possible? Right? So I could just hang here, I could slide it back, or I could reach back and grab hold of my foot. Yep, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, now both hands come back to the mat. Step righty forward between hands as you move back into crescent lunge. That's it. Yeah, where is that foot? I know it's up there somewhere. Arms to the sky. Now interlace your fingers in what I affectionately call the Charlie's Angels mudra, right? Placement of the hands with the first two fingers reaching up to the sky. Find that lift through the sternum, but then you're going to lean forward so that your belly almost touches your thigh, and 99% of your weight is over your left foot. In slow motion, pick up over your right foot, as to say, Your left foot's now going to lift off the floor as we come up into our balance pose, warrior 3 position. Now the arms forward is the more challenging version of this pose. So if you want to put one or both hands to your thigh, excellent. When you've had enough of this pose, slow motion step back into crescent lunge, arms up in the air. Beautiful. And then exhale, hands come back to the floor. Take it back to down dog or move through a vinyasa. It's been a hard day. It's all good. Just happy to have you here. It's beautiful. It's all good. Yeah. Okay, so we know what's coming on, so we're going to prepare for this one even better. Okay, so come into a really solid downward facing dog when you're ready. And this time, grip your fingertips slightly to the floor, squeeze your biceps into your temples. They're not going to move much, but you're going to feel that stability of your arms, okay? Step your right foot just slightly closer to your left. Now this is going to be all about, okay? So your left leg comes up off the floor, your left hand and your right foot. Everything else is just pyrotechnics, okay? Now, bend your left knee so the left knee points back to the wall behind you. Your left big toe points toward the ceiling. Voila, that's your pose. That's all we need to do. If you want to get light on your right hand, come up onto your right fingertips. Perhaps slide your right fingertips back toward your right toes. Perfect, Allison. If you want to bend your left knee and grab hold of your left, that's what I'm talking about, left hand or left foot with your right hand, be my guest. Just don't think about it too much. Beautiful. And then when enough is enough, both hands come to the mat as you step your left foot forward now, crescent lunge pose with our Charlie's Angels mudra. So interlace the fingers, reach your arms to the sky, feel that lift in your chest, and then take it forward and pause with your belly floating above your thigh, and then pick up your right foot and float that up off the ground. And breathe, of course. Yeah. A lot of you are like me, like myriad times better on the left side than the right. Like my left side is my power leg, I guess. Okay, ease your way back, crescent lunge position. And then exhale, hands to the floor, take it back, downward facing dog, or move through a vinyasa. So good, everybody. Really great. Now, we're going to spend like 6 or 7 breaths in a downward facing dog. And what I'm noticing, by the way, in these up dogs and these cobra poses, how well everybody's opening up their chest. The shoulder blades are pulling together, broad through the collarbones. You know, we get out of like that Zoom meeting position where we've just been like, do I have shoulders anymore? I don't know. Okay, so if we've got some time in down dog, how are you going to make it comfortable for you, right? If that's the legs wide version of down dog, or if you want to choose a cat-cow position instead of down dog, phenomenal. But take deep breaths here, relax. Excellent. Look forward to your hands, bend your knees, and as you exhale, do a hop, a step, or a walk, feet forward to hands. Come up to a flat spine, breathe in, and as you exhale, fold forward again. This time, reach back behind your calves and pull into your shins for a little bit more powerful version of Paschimottanasana. Or if you want to go Padangusthasana, you can hold on to your big toes with your peace fingers and kind of pull in toward your shins in that way. Relax your neck, relax your jaw, contract your quads, top thigh muscles, contract your abdominals, and let there be some deep breath. If your knees are a little bit bent in this pose, this means you are managing your pose to match your needs. That's perfect. Okay? This pose isn't only correct when legs are straight. Perfect. Okay, release, open your arms wide, stand all the way up, big reach to the sky. As you exhale, bring your hands to your heart, bend your right knee, and we're going to do one of two things. Either hold right knee with left hand, or hold the outside of your right foot with your left hand. But you'll notice your hip, your knee, and your heel are going to be in the same plane, even and especially if you choose to straighten your standing leg. Think about the foot that's on the floor. So I'm more interested in the balance twist part of this. If there happens to be a hamstring stretch in here too, great. Try this. Look at one spot, bend your standing leg a little bit and straighten it back out. That's your lifeline. When things start to go down, You bend your knee, you get back into muscular control, and then you straighten it back out. That's it. That's it. Good. Look forward, and then just sort of like find your way easily back into a comfortable forward fold. Maybe a little bend in your knees because you've just stretched your right hamstrings a lot more than your left now. So don't take this intensely is what I'm saying. Relax your neck. Now, while you're hanging out in this pose, give yourself a moment to move through your Ujjayi breath, your whisper breath, and visualize yourself doing the same pose on the other side. So you're still in a forward fold, but you're thinking about coming up to a standing pose. You're thinking about visualizing bending your left knee and holding left foot with right hand or left knee with right hand, balancing like it's your job on your right leg only, right? And doing the twist, okay? You're seeing that happen in your head. And let's execute. Arms wide, send all the way up. Hands to heart. Now find a solid samastiti. Find a solid version of this pose first. And then bend your left knee as you hold onto your shin. Just stay upright. You might even try one of those bend, straighten things. Then either your right hand holds left knee or right hand holds left foot. Keep your gaze maybe forward at first or down to the floor at first. Get set. Okay? And make it quick. If you're going to look at something and then look straight back behind you if you're going to do the full look. You're still thinking about the foot that's on the floor. I love it. Beautiful. Bring it back to neutral and then slow motion take your way forward back into Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Beautiful. Yeah, love it. All right, so let's switch balancing from legs and twists to arms. We're going to move toward either Bakasana or the underlying foundation of Bakasana. This is crow pose. Plant your palms to your mat. Bring your knees to the upper outside edge of your arms. Point your elbows out. Don't worry about bringing your feet up. Even if you're good at this pose, just pull your knees into your triceps and find the balance point where most of your weight is on your hands, but your toes are there for support. And look forward. And that's all I want to do at first. Your toes are still holding like an ounce of pressure on them, but other than that, it's all hands gripping into the floor. And then relax back into Mulasana, squat pose. Okay? So this pose is all about technique. I mean, you can get like brute strength and just like make it happen, right? The way you can make almost anything happen with brute strength. But I'm not interested in that. I'm more interested in the techniques that underlie the postures. So the main muscle groups are inner thighs and abdominals. And we all have those a lot more than we have arm strength. Okay, so check it out. I'm just going to pull the knees in, find the balance point on the wrist, and then just rock the teeter-totter forward enough that I can come up. Now, I've been doing this pose for a while. I'm not the strongest dude in the world. The fact that I can hold this pose without grunting and groaning says I'm not using strength to hold the pose. I'm just using balance. It's a teeter-totter, right? So find your spot, right? So you can either hang out here and you could even do pre-crow pose where you're just engaging inner thighs, pushing elbows into knees, or put your hands to the floor and lean forward. Also, yeah, perfect, also. Beautiful. Look forward rather than down in this pose. Good. Try the radical idea of also breathing while in the pose. Sustaining life function is our first objective in any pose. Nice. Beautiful. And then relax. Okay. So last thing I want to do, because we're going to do this pose one more time, we can support ourselves in this posture by doing something simple, kind of behind the scenes. It's an internal mudra. A mudra is a placement of the hands or the placement of your body in a particular way that helps energy to flow, right? So we do this mudra a lot. But the mudra I'm talking about is a tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth as your tiptoes touch. Random, but totally helps. Now, if you also know Mula Bandha, floor of the pelvis contracts, tip of the tongue, roof of the mouth, tiptoes touch, total ninja techniques, that makes a big difference, okay? Okay? So again, just take a look. I'm leaning forward, squeeze in with my inner thighs, find my core, lean forward enough, tiptoes, tip of the tongue. Now, as soon as I engage my bandhas, in my mind, I'm thinking like, wow, this pose just felt like somebody took like 10 pounds off of my back, you know? You're at the gym and you got that last rep, and somebody puts like one finger on the bar to help you up, and then suddenly you're like, you know, like they gave you like 1 ounce of pressure, and that's all you needed to go. This is what this does, okay? So if you've got one more crow and you go for it, let's go one more crow. Otherwise, we'll find ourselves into a wide leg forward fold pose on our yoga mat. So this is Prasarita Padottanasana is where we're going to end up next. Find yourself into Crow Bakasana. Good. Tip of the toes touch, tip of the tongue and the roof of the mouth. Mula Bandha contracted. Beautiful. And then when you've just had enough, let's find our way sideways on our mat in this wide-legged forward fold pose, kind of facing this way. What was that? Yeah, sorry, this way. So, yeah, so we kind of open up to our left and then fold forward. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, so let's get off our hands for a little bit. Let's move into Warrior Two pose. Put a little bend in your knees. Hands to hips. Come upright. And then open your arms wide. And Warrior Two toward me. So pivot on your right heel. Flex your right knee. And move into Warrior Two. So facing me. Perfect. Yeah. Whatever. It's end of Monday. Just lucky to be here. It's just phenomenal. Knee over ankle. Toes are pointing straight forward. Open up your chest by bringing your hands behind you. Interlace your fingers as you begin to straighten your arms a little bit. Lift your chin slightly. And bend your front knee even deeper. Yeah. Open your arms wide like wings. Straighten up your front leg as we prepare for triangle pose. Lean as far forward as you can. And then drop your hand to shin or the floor or a block as we come up and open up into a luxurious Trikonasana triangle pose. Now, for a moment, drop your left arm toward the wall in front of you, but pull your left shoulder toward the wall behind you. So you drop your arm perpendicular to your trunk. You're pointing toward that big red door over there. But pull your shoulder to the wall behind you. Allow your shoulder blade to pull in toward your spine. Good. Now reach your left arm back toward the ceiling. That acts like a lever, a crowbar, to open up your chest. Now that we've been here for a little while, contract your quads. Top thigh muscles are strong. That might mean just a little bend in your standing leg. And if your body's willing, go a little bit deeper in the pose. Take the same pose, but just give yourself a deeper breath. And instead of looking up, look down and see what happens to your neck. See what happens to the energy of the pose. It might feel grounding. It might feel like somebody just took all the air out of your tires, right? So maybe you look back up to the sky because that's where you're flying today. Beautiful. Now, drop your left hand toward the floor. Bend your right knee and lean forward as you come up into Ardha Chandrasana and balance on your right leg only. Good. Good. Left hand is going to reach to the sky. The secret of this pose is keeping your back leg lefty lifted and high. Spread your fingers. Open this thing up. Beautiful. Now drop your left hand to the floor. You're in a standing splits position. And you're going to hold this pose as it is, or you could even fool around with a couple of little hops up into a handstand, if that's in your practice. Now we're going to end up in our wide-legged forward fold again. So if you want to try a couple little kick-ups into handstand, be my guest. Otherwise, we'll meet you back in a wide-legged forward fold. Yeah, so once you've done a few of these, land, walk your hands to the left again, and end up in Prasarita Padottanasana. Yeah, so we're kind of like doing this. Yeah, get grounded again. Take a couple rounds of deep breath. Now put a little bend in your knees, bring your hands back to hips. As your elbows point to the windows behind you, use your strong leg muscles to help you stand all the way back up. Open your arms wide again like wings. And then pivot on your left heel and you're facing backward now on your yoga mat, doing warrior two pose. Yeah. Quick anatomy check as you bring your knee over your ankle, equal weight between the inside and outside edge of your foot. Little lift through the pubic bone as your tailbone draws down. Good. Bring your hands behind you, interlace your fingers as your arms go straight. Open up your chest as you lift your chin. Good. Now open your arms wide again as we prepare for triangle pose, Trikonasana. So straighten up your left leg. Straighten up, but not to the point of locking out. Reach like you're going to touch the window in the back of the room, and then drop your hand to your shin for an easy triangle. Okay, now your arm is lifted in the air, and again, it is raising energy, and at the same time, it's going to help to leverage open your chest. So do this, reach your right arm toward the person in front of you, or reach it toward that big red door, the big red sliding door, and then pull your arm, your shoulder pulls back. Okay, so you can kind of see what I'm doing? Do this, point toward me, pull the shoulder back, and then open it back up again. Yeah, exactly. And you might even try this a few times, back and forth. See how the shoulder moves independent of the elbow, and then open it back up. Good. And for those of you who are at home and wondering what the hell just happened because I walked off stage, I'm kind of arm parallel, pull the arm forward and back, let the shoulder pull back, and then open it up. Yeah. Okay, so now we're moving to half moon Ardha Chandrasana. Bend your left knee, lean forward as you pick up your right foot up off the floor. Good. Reach your right arm up toward the ceiling as your right hip stacks above your left. Navel kind of points toward that big sliding door. Spread your fingers, spread your toes. Yeah, everybody. Beautiful. Now both hands come back to the mat. You're in a standing splits position. A little bend in your standing leg, lefty. Look down in between your hands with your palms to the floor. And then you're either going to do a couple more kick-ups into a handstand if that kind of speaks to you. If that doesn't, just stay in a standing splits position. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Beautiful. Yes. Yes. Okay, when you're done with whichever version of this that you're working on, let's bring your left foot back to the floor, step your right foot back into our big wide thing. We're coming back into Prasarita Padottanasana. And this is kind of base camp for several of these poses. Now, since we're right here and our legs are wide anyway, walk your hands forward and find your way sort of into that same thing we did at the beginning, that there's this wide-legged, downward-facing dog. Like downward dog adjacent posture. Full breaths. Good. Now walk your hands to the right. Find your way into a lunge position facing forward. Heel toe your right foot toward the right side of your yoga mat. And either hook your right elbow underneath your calf, pick up your right heel off the floor, drop your hands to the floor in front of your right big toe for twig pose, or you could even bring your right knee above your tricep as you lean forward into Kundinasana. Yeah. Good. Whether or not your back foot comes off the floor, it's fine. We're still working the same principles. It looks great. Okay. Unwind. No, I love this pose anyway. I just sit down, kind of make an elbow, make a sandwich with my elbow between my calf and my thigh. Put my palm to the floor in front of my big toe, and just sit on my elbow as I pick up my back foot. Okay? Now, before we do the other side, come into this kneeling lunge position and just lean forward for another groin stretch. Good. Okay, so take it back to downward facing dog pose for a hot second. On your way to bringing your right foot forward between your hands. So let's break down this twig thing. Did I say right? I meant left. Thank you for everybody who did what I said. Thank you for everybody who did what I meant. Your left elbow is going to go to the inside of your calf, right? Wrap around to the outside. Now, I bring my knee off the floor and I scoot my body weight forward, much more forward than my big toe. As I plant my palm to the floor, then look forward as you pick up your back foot. Yeah, that's it. Everybody's new Instagram profile photo right there, boom. Cool. If you want to transition into Kundinasana stick pose by straightening your left leg, more power to you. But here's where we're going. After we've had a moment there, bring your right knee back down to the mat for your kneeling groin stretch on this side. When you've had a good run, instead of down dog, plant both hands to the floor, come to a hands and knees pose, and then start to move in a figure eight pattern through the hips. So I want you to bring your hips right up over your knees, start to walk your hands forward, and either rest your forehead on the mat or lift your chin and drop down so that your sternum and chin come to the floor into Anahatasana or puppy pose. Okay? Anahata referring to heart chakra. It's a great stretch for the upper back. Give yourself about 5 or 6 more breaths here. And when you've had a good run, find your way to a lying on your back position. You'll come up slowly, cross your ankles behind you as you roll down onto your back. Pull your knees into your chest for a moment and do a little rock side to side. All right, so we're going to move from here into bridge pose. Plant your feet down to the floor, keep your toes pointing straight forward, and lift your hips in the air for Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. Walk shoulder blades together. Good. Keep your knees so they don't want to V out in either direction, nor do you want them to kind of move in toward each other. You want them to be equidistant from one another. Charge the balls of your feet down into the floor. Let your hip bones lift up even higher. So either interlace your fingers underneath your body and straighten your arms to stretch your chest, or bend your elbows at right angles. Make these right angles in your elbows and pull elbows down to the floor. Yeah, kind of make, that's it. I mean, point your fist toward the ceiling. Try this, Ellie. And then just, So when you fire your middle back muscles, it lifts your chest up toward the sky. Beautiful, everyone. Release your hands and then roll down vertebra by vertebra back to the floor. Good. And then move into a happy baby pose. Okay, so here comes bridge pose, take two. We're going to do the same posture. And if you'd like to, we can move into full wheel pose if that's in your, if that was in your zodiac of yoga postures today, right? If that was in your horoscope, we're going to do it. Otherwise, we're going to just do another bridge pose. So kind of find where the bony part of your butt is. Find that with your hands. Put your heels right in line with the bony part of your butt, directly underneath your knees. And then start by walking shoulder blades together. So your butt's still on the floor, but your elbows are kind of pulling into the floor. Your middle upper back is contracted. Now before you lift, and this will really help with your full back bend if you're going to do it, hug lower back down into the floor. It's almost like you're trying to round your pubic bone towards your navel. Your lower back literally touches the floor. It's totally awkward because your upper back is contracted, lower back's pulling in. Now lift your hips back up into bridge pose. From here, walk shoulder blades together again. Okay, and if you're going to go into a full wheel pose, then bring your hands up by your shoulders, keep your toes pointing forward, and then move all the way up into full bridge. Good. Whether that's bridge or whether that's wheel pose, ease your way back down. Find a neutral position by lying down on your back. Maybe move into happy baby so your thigh bones move toward your chest. Reach up and grab the outside edge of your feet. Very good. Roll up to a seated pose, everybody. And as you do so, mirror me, straighten your right leg out, bend your left knee for Janu Shirshasana. Sit up straight, turn your trunk in the direction of your extended leg, and then lean forward, either with your front knee a little bit bent or your front leg straight. Move into this Janu Shirshasana, or this one knee bent, one leg straight pose as your forehead moves in the direction of your knee. Give yourself a deep breath here. Now, ease your way back upright. Put your left hand behind you. Use this to help prop you up and reach behind you. Bring your hand behind your head. So your right hand would be behind your head. As your head pulls back into your hand, feel like your navel is trying to lift as high as it can up toward the ceiling. You might get a stretch on one or even perhaps both of your thighs. Ease your way back down to the floor. With your bent knee, pick that up and put it to the outside of your left thigh, or the other thigh, right thigh, okay? And we're going to move to this Ardha Matsyendrasana, either with your right leg extended straight, so opposite elbow around opposite knee, right? Or bend your extended leg as you move into a deeper twist. It's okay if this hip is lifted off the floor. Ease your way back to neutral. Now, with your right leg straight, extend your left leg out forward. So we're basically going to do this on the other side. Sit up nice and straight. Turn your trunk in the direction of your extended leg as you lean forward to an easy stretch on this side. One of the things I find really helps in this pose is when I contract my top thigh muscles by kind of hugging the back of my leg down into the mat. When that contracts, it sends this message through my body that I can relax these hamstring muscles even more. When this side feels balanced with the other side, ease your way back upright to a seated position. Send your right arm back behind you and bring your left hand probably behind your head as you pull your head into your hand and lift your hips up toward the ceiling. Ease your way back down to the floor as you pick up your bent knee and put it to the outside of your extended leg. Then either hug your elbow around your shin or to the outside of your thigh and twist. Again, with the option, if you wish, to bend your extended leg so you end up something like this. As you inhale, get as tall as you can with your spine. I'm noticing how wonderfully vertical everyone's spine is. This is the axis. This is the pole around which now we're finding twist, finding rotation. Beautiful, everybody. Bring it back to neutral and find yourself in a comfortable seated pose. Perhaps it's half lotus pose, right? If full lotus pose is available for you, more power to you. If you want to try just Sukhasana or easy pose, whatever, set thumb and first finger together, turn your palms open, sit up nice and straight, and come back into Ujjayi breath. Just focus 100% on breathing. Feel what has happened cumulatively through your yoga practice so far. And we're going to do a brief 3-part breath. Everybody breathe all the way out through your nostrils. Breathe just into belly for 3 counts. So inhale, 2, 3, and hold your breath. 2, 3. Now continue the inhale to middle chest. 2, 3, and hold your breath. 2, 3. Last time, inhale, upper chest, 2, 3, and this is the first exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Breathe into belly again, 2, 3, hold your breath, 2, 3, middle chest, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3, upper, 2, 3, 9 count exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Belly, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3. Middle, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3. Upper, 2, 3, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last round, belly, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3. Middle chest, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3. Upper, 2, 3. Last exhale, get it all out, 2, 3, 4. Keep pushing, 6, 7, 8, 9. Go to easy breath in and out through the nostrils. Slowly begin to straighten your legs out, and then we're going to move into Shavasana next. Now, if you're in this upright seated position, you're like, whoa, this feels amazing, just to sit, then maybe you change to do a seated meditation in lieu of Shavasana, right? Otherwise, extend your legs out straight. Maybe point your fingertips toward your toes and roll down into a position in which you can relax for the remainder of our practice. We've used these wonderful postures, our breath, the energy flowing through all of us and ourselves individually, to practice focusing a very keen attention. And we're going to now lean totally into merely paying attention. That's going to be our only practice. Full practice boiled down to merely paying attention. So I brought my clarinet today, as something simple and easy to pay attention to. And let's agree that the clarinet doesn't need to be right or wrong or good or bad. It's just information. Welcome it into your awareness. Recognize it as sound, recognize it any emotion or thought it may evoke, and practice just being the observer. So just notice where you're at in body, mind, and spirit. Take that before and after shot from your yoga practice and briefly visualize yourself moving through the rest of your day, and maybe even into the rest of your week with whatever quality you've discovered, re-enlivened, whatever's most alive for you in this moment. Carry that forward in the rest of your evening, the rest of your day, the rest of your week. To that end, start to breathe life into that as you put a little deeper breath into belly. Move fingers and move toes. Give yourself a pat on the back for doing something so healthy for yourself today. If you're not already, roll over to one side and come upright to a seated position, and sooner or later we'll all put our hands together at our hearts again. You are also welcome to rest your hands on your knees if you prefer. But to finish our practice, I'd like to chant the word Om one time together as we connect ourselves, body, mind, spirit, through the sound of Om. And if you prefer to listen, that's fine too, still works. Inhale. For those of you who are here in person, for those of you who are here virtually, namaste. Thank you so much for being here.